Good morning, happy campers. Chris Upton in the house. Live on Facebook. Doesn't happen that often, does it? Not Facebook. It's normally in our private group, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let a few people in first before I start giving you a little bit of insight into what's going on. Because, like I said, my Facebook page is normally a happy site. It's normally a happy site where, yes, I speak my mind. You know me. I'm that sort of guy. But what I say is I back it up with proof. And if you can't back it up with proof, you shouldn't say it. Over the years, I've been absolutely sick and tired of hearsay. He said this, she said that. I've never really taken much notice of that because it can get you into trouble if someone's feeding you rubbish. Now, how did this all start with Alice Wise? Let me explain to you. One of my members of my Patreon group understands that Will Cluley is a top dog trainer. A top dog trainer, been very successful. I know how Will Cluley trains, but that's up to Will Cluley how he tells people how he trains. That's completely up to him. I have no beef with Will Cluley. But I know that if I'd picked up the phone and spoke to Alice Wise, who has had nothing to do with me roughly for 10 years, ever since the Cornwall Field Trial Society fallout, other than her coming to my gate and apologising and saying she was a coward and she wouldn't stand up to the bully, Chris Warnoff, when in fact she was so far up his backside it was unbelievable. And what happened is they jumped off a sinking ship like rats leaving a deserted ship once they realised that he was going to be exposed for what he was. Simple as that, everybody. But that's 10 years. That's 10 years ago. I don't need to go on about that. But guess what? Don't forget history, because history can come back and bite you in the arse. So Alice Wise has moved from one club to another club. She's been to 3 clubs as secretary, test secretary, and all this. Her aim was wanted to be field trial secretary for the Cornwall Club. That's why she stood with the Cornwall Club for all those years. But what she is, power hungry. Now, that's up to her. That's her life. Get on with it. Leave me alone. You won't hear from me. I have a niggle every now and again when I'm not happy when I hear something that I can back up. Simple as that. So why have I come on here now? Because I've asked her to contact us privately. I contacted her privately after the conversation that she had with someone that I knew was ringing her about asking about the Will Cluley seminar. And my name was brought up. And she said, what's your opinion about Chris Upton then? She didn't need to say that, did she? She's trained with me. She used to come to me for training. When I ran the Cornwall Field Trial Test Secretary's job for 3 years, running the training classes, she came along every week. She used me. She learnt from me. She knows exactly how I train. I haven't changed my training. I still use discipline. She knows exactly what discipline I use. Yes, I've advanced with my training knowledge because that was 10 years ago, and any good trainer should do. But to go out of her way to discredit me when she knows what we've gone through, me and my wife, with the backstabbing, nasty people in the trial world, it was about time we taught her a lesson. So I rung her up and I asked her about the seminar, because I generally wanted to go to the Will Cluley training seminar. But I didn't want to go to the Will Cluley training seminar if he wasn't going to be honest and talk about dog training and questions and answers. Or I didn't particularly want to take a dog, not interested in that. I wanted to go there and watch if possible. But if I had to take a dog just to get there, I would have done that. And she tells me it was full. Not a problem. Not a problem. But then when I asked her a couple of questions about what's it going to be like, because I said, can I come as a spectator? I'm going to share the video in the next hour on Facebook. And the reason I'm sharing the video on Facebook, I have no faith in the Duchy Club's system of complaints. I'm going to put the complaints into them, but it's a closed shop. It's a closed shop for who is running it. It's a dictatorship again. She has formed a dictatorship with the club and she's ruling the club. Now, when somebody puts their head above the parapet, they're going to be shot at. I can cope with it. I'm a big boy. I've been round the block a few times. I've had a few disagreements with people, as you all know. But I say it the way it is. But it's funny how many people have sent me screenshot after screenshot after screenshot. And then we've had communication. And like I say, I'm a sort of person who doesn't drop people in the shit. And why are these people not willing at this moment to come forward and say it the way it is? Because it will affect their field trial career, and all they want to do is run their dogs in the field trials and in tests, or go to a training seminar. One of these people who resigned from the committee recently tried to get onto that Will Cluley training seminar, and they've not gone back to her. A number of people have been threatened by certain people on the committee. I mean, physically threatened with a number of things that I've been screenshot and sent to me from a number of different people. I have to protect those people, because if they want to run in competition, they can't be seen to be causing a fracas between the clubs. But guess what? They'll never get anywhere with the Duchy club and with the group of people running that. Well, it's like it is. So what has to happen is people have to stand up and be countered, or one person alone, he may be able to rock the boat, but he won't get rid of the bad apples again like I had to last time. And I didn't get rid of the bad apples on my own. It had to be some brave committee people who were fed up with the corruption in the dog training world. It's simple as that, everybody. Now, I'm not liked because I say it the way it is, but I can tell you this, that it's disgraceful that a person who's been through all this and seen the manipulation and bullying and has been a victim in a way, because if she was bullied to the extent that she kept her mouth shut and let things happen because she wanted to advance herself in the trial world, this is coming from somebody who has their dogs trained by other people. Other people know this in the Gundog world, and everybody knows that her nickname is the poisonous dwarf. And there's a number of these women that are on these committees that side with each other, and their nickname is the Witches of Eastwick. Is that somebody who is respected for what they've achieved or what they've done in the Southwest for the trial community? So many people have had the wool pulled over their eyes. It's as simple as that. Chris Upton didn't want to go public again, really. But when he realised who the field trial secretary of the Duchy club is, and she's been bad-mouthing him as well, there's no way that it's going to be dealt with properly. So Chris Upton has been trying to do it properly and get hold of Dave Kent, the chairman, because the one person that I do trust at the moment is Dave Kent. Dave Kent actually stood up against Trevor Gussie and Chris Thilston and his band of merry men, and he put his name to the special general meeting. That takes some bottle, because as soon as you stand up to these bent people, these corrupt people in the trial world, your name is shit. They spread rumours about you. So what I'm saying, everybody, you're going to see some shit hit the fan in the next day or two. It's not Chris Upton looking for a fight with another person. It's Chris Upton standing up for the weak. Chris Upton standing up for the people who just want to run their dogs in competition and not be nobbled. Chris Upton is going to stand up and say it the way it is, because you can't nobble Chris Upton, because he can stand on his own. Chris Upton trains people, trains their dogs. I've got a community that follows me, and I'm respected for my honesty. You might not like my training. Don't worry about it. Go away. But isn't it funny? At least 200 people on my friends list are friendly with Alice Wise. Why aren't they getting involved? They're not getting involved because they know if they side with me, I'm big enough to stand up and be strong myself, aren't I? They don't need to back me, but they also are not backing Alice Wise. Why? Because they're fed up with it. They're fed up with it. If Alice Wise was such a wonderful woman, we've got a dispute with money with the Duchy club, and the treasurer's resigned. We've got a dispute with 5 people leaving the club because of the way that the club's being run. People have walked away, and all they want to do is get on with their lives and run their little dogs. And that's all I ever wanted to do when I came into the trial world. I wanted to run my dogs and be treated as an equal. No, I didn't want no special favours. I didn't suck up to any of the film stars. Alice Wise is a groupie. She has hung around with so many film stars in the trial world to get the success that she's got. She will suck up and backstab unbelievable. And I've got proof. I dared Alice to try and get the police involved, get solicitors involved, because this could have never have happened, Alice. But you've caused this on yourself. Because what you do, you close ranks at the committee. We have a right as members to ask questions. And you know, if you don't answer those questions, what's the first thing you said to me, Alice? Are you a member? You know I'm a member. I was one of the founding members. And I've paid my subscription. Guess what will happen now, everyone? They'll say his subscription's not up to date. Because that's what they do. They'll close ranks. But guess what? It is up to date because we've checked it. And it was on standing order. So they can't say it wasn't. But what we're going to do this year is make sure the Field Trial Secretary has taken the money out of the bank. So guess who's coming back out of retirement? Chris Upton, taking on the trial world yet again. Last time they banned me for 10 years. It took me 5 years to clear me good name. But I've got all the reference material, the letters and everything, saying that I've been cleared of any wrongdoing with the Cornwall Club. So technically, no one has got anything against me. If they have, bring it up. This is your time. Bring it up. They tell people that my customers leave here unsatisfied. They put slander about my business. I've got a phone conversation with Alice Wise, talking to a client of mine who didn't really want to say he was a friend of mine. Why? Because he knew he wouldn't get nowhere, because I told him. So he had to pretend he didn't really know me. But guess what? Everything came out exactly the way I thought it would. She went after me. Now, Alice, you've got a real problem. I feel sorry for your husband, Reg. And as for this arsewipe, this fool who contacts me last night and wants to have a bitch fight on my Facebook site, and he's an admin on your Duchy Gundog club, and he comes in looking for a bitch fight on my site where no one really fights. No one really argues. Because I do all my arguing on YouTube. And he threatens people. He threatens to burn down people's premises. That man shouldn't have guns, should he? This is getting ridiculous. The more I hear, the more I'm disgusted with the attitude of these people. And he puts up pictures of that Harvey, Katie Price's disabled son. And because is it because of his colour of his skin, or is it because he's disabled? Do you think it's funny to rubbish a poor kid like that? And then you start laughing at friends of mine who've got a disabled child and are struggling. Life is a struggle when you've got people with mental health problems or disabled people. And then we hear all about you and what you've done to a keeper, a nice chap in Cornwall, and had an affair with his missus. You're a horrible, horrible scumbag. You're a horrible, horrible scumbag, and you shouldn't be allowed to be on the Cornwall, on the Duchy Club. My beef isn't with the Cornwall Club. My beef was with the Cornwall Club when Alice Wise was on it. My beef was with the Cornwall Club for turning a blind eye to all the corruption and backing Thurlston and Sarah McCroon. I don't really want to go into Sarah because she was bullied by Thurlston. But Trevor Gussie, 2 panel judges manipulating, and this is exactly what's happening now. So where did Alice Wise learn this? She learnt it on the Cornwall Committee, how to bully and intimidate, and so she did an apprenticeship on the Cornwall Club and realises how to manipulate and run a club for your own gain. This is dead simple, everybody. Perhaps you could give your opinion if you really wanted to. You don't have to, because you're better off keeping out of it, because guess what? If she survives, you'll never get a run in a trial. You'll never get a judgment. You'll never get asked to judge. You'll never get asked to shoot, because they manipulate everything. They manipulate who shoots. This is the same Duchy club where 3 people got shot. The same Duchy club who are now telling me what I'm doing wrong. Come on, bring it on. I've had enough of you. But I don't need to get into a bitch fight and start being aggressive and threatening, because that's not Chris Upton. They might tell you it's Chris Upton, but Chris Upton's far too clever for that, because Chris Upton's going to pay for this to go around the internet 3 million times, because Chris Upton can afford to pay to send Alice Wise a message to the whole community on Facebook. I don't go on Gundog groups bitching. I don't talk to people in a derogative way behind their back and then smile to their face. She is a two-faced snake, and unfortunately she's had this coming for a long time, and I've bit my tongue because I just wanted to get on with my life of training dogs. I don't get people in the Southwest coming to me for training. Do you know why? Because of the stuff like Alice Wise and her cronies peddle. She manipulates the club. She gets on every club as test secretary. Her dream was to be field trial secretary, and she's got a dream now. My friend, when he rung her, and you'll listen to it on the conversation, she diverted him from the club's activities to her activities. Private lessons. Private lessons. Is that the way the clubs were run? For self-promotion? So you can make a profit? Alice Wise would be a nobody in the dog training world if it wasn't for Ian Openshaw and a number of other trainers out there that I'm not going to mention at the moment. But she knows, we know, and things are going to come to light because she has her dogs trained by other people. And trust me, I've judged her. She has not got a clue. She picks up on Pentilly Estate with a pack of out-of-control dogs that unless she puts them on a lead, she can't control them. How does Chris Upton know all these things? Because Chris Upton does his homework before saying something. Chris Upton goes out of his way to make sure what he says is true, because I don't want a liable action. But Alice can spend £20,000 for a change like I had to when I went after the Cornwall Club. I didn't spend £20,000 in the end, but I told them I was coming to get them. And I'm going to come and get the Duchy Club in exactly the right legal way, not with threats of violence, acting within the law of this land, because I am not being slandered anymore by these horrible, vindictive, nasty people who spread rumours against you. And I'm going to prove to the Duchy Club, the committee, that a number of committee members who have left have been bullied and treated in a derogative manner. I don't come on here and talk like this unless I've got proof. I've reached a stage where I've had enough of these charlatans. We asked a simple question. What sort of training seminar was it going to be? Was it going to be smoke and mirrors where no one gives discipline or talks about discipline? This is the problem with the dog training world. Chris Upton has been fighting this corner for 10 years. He pulled himself away from the Gundog clubs because he realised how they're run. But he got on with his own life. And they came back in and tried to interfere with my life. I tried to get out, and they dragged me back in. So this time, Chris Upton is not going to throw a pebble into the pond. He's going to heave a freaking great big brick into the pond. And the only way I'm going to back down is if Alice Wise resigns. I don't want to ruin the club like I didn't want to ruin the Cornwall Club. I compromised with the Cornwall Club. I said, as long as you look at the evidence and see if I've done anything wrong, but look at the evidence in a proper way. If you find anything against me, then I'll stand up to it. But I have done nothing out of order, and I've not threatened people. I've not done what these people have said. This is all hearsay and lies by a group of people sticking up with each other and deciding to make a story. And I know exactly where this is going to go. It's going to go into the Alice Wise gang that manipulate the Duchy Club. The Duchy Club is on its knees at this moment. People have resigned. Are they telling you this? Do you actually know this? I'm going to the AGM, if they have one this year because of the COVID. They probably won't. I'm going to put an official complaint in. People have put complaints into the Kennel Club about the club and Alice Wise and bullying and manipulation. And they've got the same result back from the Kennel Club as I got. We don't get involved in internal affairs with separate clubs and disputes. It's a disgrace. It's bullying. It's not just in Cornwall. It's all over the country. It's what clique you belong to. Chris Upton has got the balls to put his head above the parapet and say it. There is a group out there that are fighting for fairness in the Gundog world, in these clubs, that are trying to stop this manipulation. And they don't want me in that group. Do you know why they don't want me in that group? I'm too direct. They said you need diploma. What's the word? Diploma. You need to be sort of not so fiery, Chris, and direct. Sorry, nothing's happening when you go around the houses to get there. But what is people worried about? They're worried about their own trial career, and I understand, because I'm a fine example of what they did to me. They closed me out. I have judged for the Duchy Club. I have done training seminars for the Duchy Club. I have supported the Duchy Club and got them open status by sending in letters because I judged for them, and they asked all the judges who judged for the Duchy Club if they would put in a letter recommending the Duchy Club for open status. I put my head above the parapet and supported the club when Hilda Leahy was Field Trial Secretary. And what happens? They then have this incident down Carnanton where 3 people get shot in the gallery because they've got idiots with guns who shouldn't be shooting. You've got idiots running it. That's the problem. As soon as I say it the way it is, oh, he'll throw him off the club because he called us idiots. Someone's got to stand up and say it. Someone's got to have the bottle to say it. But I'll take you to court. I'll take you to court because what I say, I stand by. Anything I say on the internet, I stand by. It's as simple as that. I don't want to be on here forever, everybody. So I'll just wish you a wonderful Sunday. Tonight, on Patreon, we have the wonderful Gary Wilkes. Brilliant dog trainer. Oh, by the way, did I tell you? He does clickers and treats. Because I believe in bringing dog trainers together and talking about the subject in an honest manner. But also, Gary talks about discipline. And he's an ambassador for us because he stands up and says it the way it is. Because he's got the balls to put his head above the parapet. And that's the people I want to deal with. I don't want to deal with snakes who whisper behind people's backs, smile at them, give them a kiss, and then stab them. I think you're an absolute disgrace, Alice Wise. You should have said to this bloke who tried to come on last night, don't get involved because you're going to make me look stupid. And this guy wants to burn down people's premises, does he? I think that's absolutely disgraceful. To even suggest stuff like that, that should have been reported to the police and he would have lost his guns. And so he should have. Anybody threatening to burn down somebody else's premises because of a dispute at committee level, that person shouldn't be on the committee. It's an absolute disgrace. And for Alice Wise to try and be righteous and warn people about Chris Upton, you've taken on the wrong sausage, darling. Can't say darling, that's a little bit surrogative, isn't it? She's not my darling. I've never had an affair with any of my clients. I've never given my clients a kiss and a hug and or anything because I love my darling wife. And my darling wife loves me. So it's so easy, isn't it, for people to get together and ruin other people's lives. But some of us have got more principle than that. Some of us have got integrity. And some of us don't shit on our doorstep. So for what I've heard and what's been going on and what I'm actually going to address, I think is disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Now, I might withhold names in public to save embarrassment, but I tell you what, it's absolutely disgraceful, isn't it? And for that person to rubbish a disabled kid on the internet and think it's funny and share stuff of BAME people, do you know what? I'm all for having a laugh, but then there's a level, isn't there? A level you shouldn't cross, else it shows you for what you are. This guy's not backing down from anybody. He's not looking for a bitch fight. He wanted to get it resolved. It was simple as that. But they don't learn, do they? They don't learn how stubborn I am. It took me 5 years to clear my good name last time. It's not going to take 5 years to sort this out. This is going to be sorted out a lot quicker than you think, because so many people are sending me screenshots. Now, people say, why have you put your head above the parapet and you're ranting on the internet again? Because I knew exactly what would happen. People would come forward with stories of being ripped off and turned over by this person. Right? If you're the treasurer of a Gundog club, you have a duty to look after the money. If you're the secretary of the club, you have a duty that anybody sends you anything in, that you have to pass it on to the committee. If you don't pass it on to the committee, what will happen is exactly what happened with the Cornwall club, because Trevor Gussie, as the secretary, withheld letters sent into the club to protect Chris Thurston Warnoff and his gang of many followers. Because what they do, they get weak people to come into the committee and do the jobs for them. And they sit back and control it like a dictatorship. Now, we all know about Saddam Hussein, don't we? We all know that he was a dictator. No different than Thurston. What they do, they get everybody else to do the dirty work, but they control the idiots. They control the tribes who try and take over or cause shit. So what Thurston did, and I've made a big mistake here. I got to confess, everyone, I made a big mistake. I didn't see the bigger picture. While Thurston was running it, he picked the guns, he picked the judges, he picked who ran in trials, he manipulated everything through Sarah. Just call her Sarah, because I don't want to drag her into it really, but it was his missus and she was the secretary of the club. And he used Trevor as his whipping boy. And Trevor was desperate to get on in the trial world, but he never ever really did. So what Trevor did, because he wanted to be judging, it was a B panel, he sucked up to the certain people who would give him judging assignments. As simple as that. Trevor couldn't train a dog to save his arse, right? But Trevor used to be, I'll be the secretary, I'll be this, I'll do that, I'll be the runaround boy. And that way they used to throw him scraps. And that's what Saddam Hussein used to do. He used to control the lemons, or the idiots, and stop the fraction. As soon as we took out Saddam Hussein, what happened? The whole lot imploded and everybody is trying to fight for their own beliefs. Well, what happened is we got rid of Thurston, and I don't think they did it right, but that's down to the club. They could have exposed him for what he was and set an example. They had the proof. But they gave him an option. They wanted to save the embarrassment of the club. And I understand that. I totally understand that. My intention was not to close the club or bankrupt the club. So I agreed, as long as they investigated me and cleared me, if I had done anything wrong, say it. If not, clear me. As long as they investigate it properly, I wasn't going to take any further action towards the club, because I didn't want the club to fold. I believe that it's my passion still to this day, trialling in the southwest. We're trialling all over the country. But guess what? I've had my heart ripped out with the backstabbing and hate. And I don't know if I've got the heart to want to do it. But I love my life. I love my job and what I do. And no one's taking it away from me. And when scumbags like these people come into my life trying to ruin it, guess what? You've took on the wrong pussycat. So you're going to hear some shit coming out, and I'm going to back it up with everything I say. But it can still stop if they want, because I know this is being passed out and shared. And if people want to save the Duchy Club, and I want to save the Duchy Club, they need to get hold of the right people to contact me today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not in a month, not when we get everyone back together, but today. If they do that, this could all go away, and perhaps someone could resign from the club, and perhaps a few little cronies, little friends who back her can go with her. That's up to them. And we can start the club and make it a happy place in the southwest. Or we can have the biggest bitch fight that you want to have on the internet. How about that? And we'll go public with all of it. Because I do not believe that the Kennel Club are remotely interested, because we've been there, seen it, and read the book. They come back and go, yeah, Thurston's really well known. So many people have put complaints in against him. But what do they say when he does the championship this year? People change, Mr. Upton. That was 10 years ago. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I wonder if Alice will change. We'll have to see, won't we? Thanks to everybody who's on my friends list, who are friends with Alice as well, who've not got involved and just sat back and watched the car crash. I appreciate you for that. What I'd like to say, Brett wants to be in my video. What I'd like to say is, I understand why you keep out of it, because you've seen Chris Upton's fights, and Chris Upton's a big boy. He can look after himself. Now, what you've got to understand is this. The video I'm going to put up has actually been edited. It's been edited because a few things were said about other trainers that Alice has had for training, and an incident happened, and I don't want to drop those trainers in it publicly. They've not upset me, and so I've edited that. I've not edited it to make it look fantastic. I've taken that out, and then I mentioned somebody else in the dog training world, and it's not his fight, but something he told me about usage of training with this woman, and so I've taken his name out to protect him as well. So don't think that, oh, it's edited there, it's edited there, and he's edited all of it. We've edited as little as possible, but we're putting it up to show why we're fighting for what we believe in. Now you'll hear my darling wife's voice a little bit stressed, well, quite stressed, because she doesn't like getting involved, and she's never got involved, and yet they still say that she backs me or whatever the crap they come out with, right? My wife come off Facebook because she couldn't bear all this backstabbing and shit that goes on it, right? She didn't come to the tests and trials with me in the end. They used to all come, the family and everybody, and we used to enjoy it. We used to help out at all the clubs. We used to do so much for the clubs. But then when she started hearing the backstabbing from the gallery, and they didn't even know she was my wife, and she used to come back and say, I can't stand this. I can't stand how nasty they are about you behind your back. I felt like saying something, but she's so quiet and timid, she doesn't. We call her Secret Sue in our group, and everybody appreciates Secret Sue, because she backs me, but I'm not having her going through this shit all over again. That's why Chris Upton's standing up this time, and he's going to expose Alice Wise and her little gang for what they are. It's as simple as that. Alice Wise can fall on a sword, she can take a crony gang with her, or she can leave them there, and we'll pick them off one at a time if they've got the bottle to stay. But I'm telling you, you're going to see a change with the Duchy Club, with the pressure that me and a number of people put on it. It's as simple as that. We stood up and stopped the Cornwall Club from being so corrupt and biased. There was people weren't allowed to join the club because anyone can say anything to committee against them, and then they can't join. It's run. It was run on that committee in such a disgraceful way, but they didn't like Chris Upton when he stood up every time and said something. So there you go. If we don't get many watchers on this, it doesn't matter, does it? My message just got out there, but I guarantee it will be watched massively in the Gundog world because there's so many people who want to get the poison dwarf. Now that's the poison dwarf's own fault, isn't it? And that's a real shame, isn't it? That's a real shame. That you'd think, wouldn't you, with the success she's had and the amount of years she's been on these committees, that she'd have so much support from all the committee members up and down the southwest, wouldn't you? And the country. But guess what? We'll see how much support she's got, because she could end up in the wilderness like Crystals and Warmouth. Well, in the southwest. But she'll still have her friends up country, won't she? So that's Chris Upton signing off. Sorry to drag this on a Sunday morning for you. And I'll keep you informed. Thank you. Bye-bye.